adjustment Team Liquid could have made, but with the draft they went, they had to force.
Well, it's time to see a different draft here as we go to game number 4. Remember, Team Wish is now ahead of Team Liquid 2-1. If they win here, they will move on to face off against Trick Esport tomorrow. Team Liquid with a choice goes back to a bread and butter of theirs of what they enjoy playing, Cursed Hollow.
Yeah, Team Liquid with Curse, they really like the map. They've played Vikings here quite a bit, but they have moved away from that after the Western Clash. We still could see it, though. It's always like one of these fallback options that they have. But, I mean, in Europe especially, everybody is very well aware of that. So I'm a bit curious to see what they're going to pull out now, since, as you said, they need to win now. If they lose this one, then they are already out and they have no hopes of going to BlizzCon.
Yeah, they've been showing lately more Li Ming and Falstad on this battleground, looking for more poke, looking to actually fight their opponents. And they've been quite dominant, but maybe that is the long con. We haven't seen that Viking play in almost 3 weeks, I want to say, which is so weird to say with Team Liquid.
Yeah, they even more than that, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, they love to play Vikings on this map. But Falstad has been played a little bit more, has ops a lot on it. Gives you a lot of boss control. You mentioned Tyrael as one of their staples as well, so a lot of holy ground, sanctification around bosses, and really trying to play the map and the objective.
So I gotta ask you guys, do we have Tracer left unbanned once again going into game number 4? It is Cursed Hollow, it's a bigger battleground.
Definitely a bigger map, and they were able to showcase that they can make it work with a pick like Abathur. So I think that realistically, I only think the situations in which Wish will pick Tracer would be if they can secure that Abathur or that Tracer Tassadar combo in association with a global.
Sure.
So I think we could see it. This is the map where it's lower likely than the other maps, but...
So don't bet on it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, don't bet on it, but it could show up. And I'm curious to see if they stick to the trend of banning Genji. It's a little bit different from first pick, but it definitely, like... If they want to prioritize the Abathur, then banning anything but the Genji could be good. I'm curious to see what they end up doing with this Uther ban. Banning the Uther helps Abathur Genji quite a bit. I'm curious to see if Liquid will let the Genji through this time.
Yeah, interestingly enough, we have Liquid right now with... It was their map choice, right?
Yes.
So they prioritized that over the first pick. We have seen that a little bit more now as well. You mentioned Abathur earlier, and usually in Europe, Abathur is really banned out, especially on this map.
Yeah.
By now, we have Abathur as a high possibility as a ban on basically every single map that we have in the pool. But the first map where it really started was Cursed Hollow and Towers of Doom. Those two where he really excelled. So they go into the ban against Tracer here. And that could lead us into the Abathur pick on the side of Team Wish. They have Shat on their side, so he's shown that in the past so often.
Tracer's had 100% involvement in every draft. I think that's a large testament to, like...
There it is.
Yeah, there we go. So the Tracer's banned out, and Genji is still available. I mean, Team Liquid has to put some emphasis. Either they have a counter in mind for Abathur Genji, or they needed to deny the Genji right here. I think with Team Wish's playstyle, they thrive when they're able to get that Genji pick. Whenever I tune into HGC Europe and I see it used to be Team Zealots, they always would perform best, from my perspective, when they had that Genji. So I'm surprised that it's...
I mean, right now,
available.
like traditionally, you would now talk about ETC in particular, and really think about ETC Rhaegar, for example, as a pickup.
Yeah.
But you have Tassadar available all of a sudden, so that has to become also one of the things you think about. Now, ETC is so good because he's so flexible as an early pick, but normally we see an early ban against Tassadar, and we don't have that here. So it becomes an option to go into that double support play again, which Team Liquid highly favors.
Don't forget about Dahaka too, and actually he comes in. Yeah, Dahaka and ETC, so they're going to move into the ability to control the map just as well as Abathur.
But that also means that you give up Rhaegar. So right now, Team Wish has the chance to go into Rhaegar, ban out another support, even if they want to ban supports out. Now we have seen Team Liquid with Morales already. They played Oriel. They have more options here. But giving up Rhaegar is something that a lot of teams were not willing to do for a long time.
The ETC does change the Abathur Genji matchup quite a bit, and Dahaka favors well into it as well. I don't know if they're going to pick it up here. They do pick the Arthas, and I think that's really smart. Abathur Arthas has a very, very strong matchup into ETC Dahaka simply due to the fact that ETC and Dahaka have a lot of control, and you generally want those heroes against more fragile opponents like a Genji or a Tracer or something like that. But suddenly, when it comes down to the wire and it's frontline versus frontline, an Arthas with an Abathur hat and a Rhaegar to back him up certainly is stronger than an ETC and a Dahaka, I'd argue.
And now we have exactly the situation that we talked about. We have Rhaegar being picked up, so Wish can either start to target damage dealers in that draft, or they can also in a ban, or they can instead go and ban out another support here. And for Team Liquid, they have, of course, to think a bit, what do they ban here? What are they most afraid of that could be copied by Abathur in particular?
The three that come to mind for me, the Arthas pick from Team Wish synergizes with the Abathur, but it also threatens the Illidan. You always got to keep that in the back of your mind. They might not pick it, but they're threatening the Greymane, the Genji, and the Illidan primarily as secondary Abathur targets. They already have the Arthas, so they don't need one of them. But the fact that they're still up might scare Team Liquid into pick, ban, deny. Most likely what I think will happen is Team Wish will round off their draft with a solid range damage dealer and a second warrior, and then like they showcased in the last game, they can play a slow, patient game with Abathur and slowly develop an advantage. But I'm curious to see how Team Liquid responds. If they overreact and try and punish one of the Abathur synergy picks, then they could be weak to that single range double tank backline.
I mean, from the ban perspective, I already like what the two did. Again, you talked earlier about the respect that Wish has for Team Liquid's strong suits in their drafts, and I feel Vala caters to that really well. It would have been a potential pickup for Team Wish, but I think the chances of Team Liquid letting Vala through at this point with how much of a priority it is for them were really slow, so it's a good ban on their part. And Tyrael also love that, because if you have ETC in the Haka already, chances of you going into the third melee hero here and actually picking a Tyrael are slim to none, at least in the European meta. For Team Wish, it would be fantastic.
Oh, absolutely.
If you go for Tyrael and you drop, let's say, a Greymane as your last pick, all of a sudden you have boss control, you have sanctification. That would have been way too strong. So from Team Liquid also a heads-up ban. And they are now the ones who pick Greymane away from the opponent, since they are, of course, well aware how much of synergy he has, not only with Abathur, but also with Rhaegar and with Arthas as well. I mean, the chase potential is endless.
And they needed... the Vala ban from Wish was good because Team Liquid needs damage. Like, desperately needs a lot of damage, and that's why they end up going the Greymane. Again, Greymane has strengths and weaknesses, and I think in this situation, he's actually pretty good as long as... I don't know. In Europe, do they mostly go for the throat these days? I could see Curse Bullet being here. If they need one-shot kill potential, okay. I'd like to see Curse Bullet here, honestly. They have a lot of CC for the one-shot potential with the ETC and the Dahaka, and they're able to commit to that one-shot target due to Lucio's Break It Down. What really interests me is with the double crowd control frontline, I'm curious to see if Liquid will go into double support. You generally don't see Lucio solo support.
Exactly, that's the one thing that throws me off a bit as well, because if you go into support, you still need a bit more damage here. Do you go into Tyrande and hope for...
Reverse amp, baby? No, I'm just... There's probably no way.
Calm down, we're not in North America.
Muradin Chromie will be the finish up for Team Wish.
That's interesting to me.
Give him the axe, Skullcracker, 16 slow, and Abathur. Calling it now. It's awesome. He can't die, and he kills everything.
I mean, it makes sense, too. I mean, you have two people that you can proc it off. You have Muradin and Skullcracker already, Abathur Ultimate Evolution.
And as long as he has enough patience with his jump, he shouldn't get one shot.
I mean, at this point, seriously...
They have a lot of jump cancels, though.
I think if you at some point...
to ETCW and Dahaka...
feel you need a little bit more damage, you have definitely the option of giving the axe. With this, with Arthas and the slow on Abathur, 100%. But it's also like a decision that you make later in the game. I guess with this setup, you can go into Skullcracker one way or another for the mini stun, and then later on you can decide if Chromie is just hitting everything, you don't need the extra damage. But if it's a game where you have trouble really killing the target, then you can just always give Muradin the option to head straight into it, since both Abathur and Muradin make the decision on 16 on the talent, so I think that works for them.
So are we getting double support here, or are we going to get more kill potential?
Like, I don't know. This is really the big one at this point.
I expect double support, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't...
They have to, right?
Okay, Vikings.
Okay, so we get our Vikings play. I mean, this is kind of what we expected a bit, the long con, as we said, but Lucio as a solo support is still something where I'm just like...
I'm not a big fan of Lucio solo support, honestly, but with Vikings, he's really good in a 4-man. In the early stages of the game, his sustain is a bit weaker, but being able to just disengage from any situation...
Makes it easier to run away and like let the Vikings do their thing. If the opponent tries to win the 4-man, you just always dodge.
It's hard for me to come to any conclusions after this draft based on like what team I favor. But like the Chromie is interesting. Synergizes with the Abathur in the sense that Abathur can get pushed in. Chromie's really good against siege comps. That's the logic behind it from my perspective. But yeah.
Do they have enough kill potential for the Vikings in the early game, though? I mean, you have Abathur into maybe a Rhaegar coming in for the bite, but you want Rhaegar to be there with that Chromie. Arthas if he gets a Howling Blast, but Hosswabs isn't a slouch when it comes to Vikings play. I feel like they're actually going to do pretty well in the early game.
I definitely think that Team Liquid has a draft they're comfortable with, and I think that the fact that Team Liquid is boot camping and they're on their last life, we're going to see them give it their all. And honestly, it's... the perfect scenario. It's Hosswabs on Vikings. It's Team Liquid on Cursed Hollow. I would not be more happy to see... Yeah, exactly. To see that they're in this position on this map.
So picks, Glarong.
You know what? I'm rooting for a Game 5.
Me too.
I think Team Liquid's got this. It's Cursed Hollow. They've got their signature Vikings. Now, I might not like the Greymane pick or the Lucio pick necessarily, but at the same time, I don't love the Abathur Chromie on the same team. But yeah, you know what? Let's go Team Liquid.
Yeah, I want a Game 5, so I'm saying Liquid. I just want a 5th game.
I'm scared because it is Poik's Chromie.
Yeah.
And his Chromie was
the
devastating. It is a new Chromie.
Yeah.
Finish that quest pretty early, especially with the 4-man pushing into you. You're going to get those Sandblasts really easy. The only way that we've seen that Chromie lose was when Schwimpy came off and destroyed with a Tyrande on Dragonshire. So I actually think it's going to end here early, and Team Wish might get a victory.
Poik's just so good, man. I love watching him on Tracer, Chromie, Vala, doesn't matter. Like, he's one of my favorite players throughout EU HGC to watch.
You've become such a killjoy. We all want a 5th game. And you're
I know!
And you're the one who says, like, no, this is over.
You gotta have differences on the desk, man. We can't all go on the bandwagon, so I'm here to, take the loss for the team. That's what I'm doing here. As we move into game number 4, Team Wish taking on Team Liquid. If Team Wish wins here, they'll go against Trick Esports tomorrow. Team Liquid looking to tie it up.
Game number 4, ladies and gentlemen, and to the left side, Team Wish with the lead in the series. And Gran Paquete on Rega, Mopsio on Muradin, the main tank. Poik, of course, for the damage from the backline. Running Chromie here, Zomni with Arthas. And we have Shad once again on Abathur.
On the right side, in the red, Team Liquid. Splendor will be your Lucio player. Gonna have Blumby playing ETC. Gonna have Hoswaps back on the Vikings. Man, it's been so long since we've seen that. Darkmok on Greymane. And last but not least, Nurok will be the one on Dahaka.
Nurok with the Haka, and it's time for the Vikings again. This is what Team Liquid hasn't shown in quite some time. Ever since the Western Clash, the Vikings play has been significantly reduced. Now, on the other hand, we have an opportunity for them to bring that back into play and show how strong Hazops is on the hero. Now, we already have a few adjustments when it comes to talents, and the one that I want to especially highlight is that we actually have Muradin right now with a perfect Storm on level 1.
Yeah, it's very nice there, helping also with the mana cost. Muradin being one of those heroes that are having a hard time dropping down those Stormbolts without, of course, spending too much mana.
Considering the setup that they're playing, I'm really wondering if you go into... normally, I would have argued, okay, you go into Skullcracker on level 7 and you play around that. Piercing Bolt against Vikings? Are you trying? Like, I don't know. We don't really see it a whole lot, but I mean, at this point, if you already commit to Perfect Storm, might be something that they're considering here.
I mean, at that point, I think I'd rather Haymaker. Being able to set the fight, force scenarios that pull people away, push them behind turrets.
I hate you so much right now.
No, you love fun plays. And creates exciting moments for casting, Caldor. Haymaker. That's where you make the playmaker.
The playmaker, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. There are things that I do think is going to happen here. Temporal Loop, insane against Lucio. First off, he's near melees consistently, so you're able to land that Temporal Loop easily, and if you have your stacks built up, especially with it being easier now, you will one-shot him.
No, I absolutely agree. Like, if you have Temporal Loop and you try to exploit the lack of a cleanse, it can really help. Right now, already, Poik is in trouble, and he should fall here for sure. He's trying to get a bit of a counter kill. They do actually get a kill against Eric and against ETC here. So, yeah, that's a nice double. So, Poik already... I mean, he realized he would fall anyways, and once that he was out of vision, once that he entered the brush, instead of simply trying to run away against Lucio, nearly impossible, he simply said, okay, if I land a combo right now, I might put enough damage onto my target that someone else from my team might at least make it an even trade.
Yeah, if Lucio and Dahaka are chasing you through a bush, you're going to die if you can't find a turret or someone to peel for you right away. And he goes out for the damage, and it helps out. Now, I am watching the lanes here, as Team Liquid, of course, having the Vikings always seem to pull away, especially when the tributes begin to spawn, which will be happening very soon. We'll see if they'll be able to even contest these tributes, or if they dance too much. If Team Wish dances a little bit too heavily around the tributes and Team Liquid has the control they want, you will see them take a lead.
So we have the tribute spawning up at the bot lane, which gives the extra camp of Team Wish a bit more pressure. But it's also a great position for Balog being at the top lane. He's the one who has the easiest time defending against the camp. And also he's the one who will, after the camp is down, if this is going to be a very long battle over the tribute, have the easiest time to push that in. And a Viking composition in the early game should really be able to put on a lot of pressure against the Abathur setup that we're seeing here.
The poke constantly coming out there, clearing up the Giants. Team Wish in a spot where they can continue to soak. Dahaka has gone to the top lane to help clear that Giant camp, which means he can show up at any point. But Team Wish having that time trap on that bottom left side allows for Chromie to step forward and go for fights. And here she is going in. Dragon's Eye, Blumby gets combo to death.
Blumby down, Dahaka not even moving into the fight here, so they try to go for the interrupt, but nice time trap here against Hazops, even getting the kill against Eric. That's not quite what you want to happen if you're Team Liquid here. Second kill against ETC, Dahaka not getting as much value from the top lane as they wanted to, and that was an easy tribute in the end to be grabbed by Team Wish, and they are starting to really put on the pressure on that bot lane, breaking through the entire wall and securing themselves a solid lead and experience.
No, they do. They open it up. They can keep moving forward too. Going in for the bell tower, putting it down lower and lower in health. Splendor on the side, able to live for now, but with ETC just now showing up, Team Wish has been able to put more than half damage on top of that fort.
Yeah, they're trying to isolate Rhaegar for now. And power slide, yes, they get that. Do they get the kill? Oh, it's going to be close, but Abathar moves in and might actually save him. Not quite. Lucio runs into the time trap, but just a second too late to give him the opportunity here. Nice combos from Poik. Splendor nearly falling, but he still survives. So they get the kill, but Poik is just firing away from that backline here.
Having 10 stacks already on top of that quest. Remember, only need 60 to get that Echo. Good spot here for Team Liquid to work on the tribute on the top left side, as that will be spawning. We do have Arthas already on his way, but it will be way too late. And we will be tied up on tributes 1-1 for our teams, as Team Wish have rotated the middle lane to put some pressure there, but they get their Chromie caught out of position as Blumby dives in with Dark Monk.
Splendor with a speed bonus here, just allowing his team to close that gap to Chromie so fast. Great aggressive move by Team Liquid. And now they are the ones who start to claim some momentum here in this game. First of all, they're still fighting over the tribute at the top. But as we see Baylog grabbing the tribute, Arthas, a bit too late for the interrupt. The rest of the team with that camp is just doing so much work in that mid lane. And they are starting to heavily pressure Arthas now as well. Even Abathar is having trouble keeping him alive here.
And we consistently are having deaths on this map here. It's 2 to 3 now. Of course, a couple of those have been Vikings, but still Team Wish in a spot where they are falling behind and experience a full level with them losing out on the turrets in the middle lane, the turrets on the top side. They are starting to get Vikinged out, which is fine. Once we get one more level, Team Wish will be in a better spot as they move towards level 10 and can force fights. Also, when the level 8 hit, we are also waiting for our pick for our Chromie. I'm assuming it's going to be Temporal Loop, great against the Lucio, but you can also see a world where Slowing Sands works out.
Oh yeah, you can definitely play with both talent here. It depends a bit on how you are trying to approach the team fights and how you are trying to approach the games. But Slowing Sands is fantastic for control over bosses, just rotations, and also, of course, tributes themselves. And talking tributes, with 10 already on the map, it's going to be an easy one for Team Liquid. Bot lane, Eric is still pushing. And over here, Mopsio is in trouble, and Mopsio is actually dead.
Team Liquid finding pickup. Splendor, as you mentioned, being able to accelerate and straight into a fight.
He shouldn't have been there in the first place. There's like no reason for him to be there. They cannot really interrupt that tribute long enough. The 10 is there. Now the kill has been taken. And that's actually an opportunity where Liquid says, you know what, boys? With Muradin down and having to make his way all the way over up to the top, we have enough time to grab an easy boss.
And look at the Vikings. Baylog grabbed the Giants on the top left. He also got the Giants on the far right with Eric, so now they have pressure on the top side and the bottom side. They're doing their best to clear that up, but it will take a while. In fact, going to have to call upon his teammates, Rhaegar and Chromie.
If you're playing the Vikings, then there's just two things that are in your job description. One is getting lost, and the second one is being annoying. And that's exactly what Hazops does. Just bribing the camp away, forcing Arthas back, and that, of course, creates even more space for the boss to push through the top lane now.
I mean, he might be so good at the Vikings that he even skips out on part 1 of that 2 steps, as you mentioned there. He doesn't get lost. That's how good he is on the Vikings. He finds them a home.
He uses Google Maps.
He uses Google Maps there. As Poik is dealing with one lone Viking, as Hasselhoff is being quite annoying. Finally, a Stormbolt will connect and throw him across the wall.
Get bodied, Eric. Hashtag wrecked. So he's down, but in the meantime, the rest of the team started to push heavily against the fort. And now it's once again time to go for Zarmony here, just as the tribute spawns. But now this is a problem. The top lane is pressuring so heavily. You have the best pushing Viking there. We have Baylog on the lane and also the boss. So this is going to be great. Here comes the Temporal Loop. No kill though, as they're starting to move in. Tribute is still, there would be a cursed tribute for Team Liquid, and they are already getting value up at the top lane.
Great sound barrier, but also not coming forward with a Dahaka to make sure to tank that Sandblast for his support. Team Wish uses the opportunity, though, to grab the tribute, and they'll be up 2-3. Mopsio needs to get out of here, turns around, drops a Stormbolt from Blumby in the power slide, while Darkmok on the back line is trying to hit Chromie.
The top lane is still under pressure. The boss is finally eliminated, but they actually went through the wall. Now we have in the mid lane another great move on the side of the Vikings. We had a quick ult there just to push through a little bit farther, and they killed Abathur with it. So Abathur is down.
Mosh.
Vikings went to the mid. There's the Mosh at the bot lane. Rhaegar is dead, and they are trying to turn it around against Harmony.
Team Liquid, hoping to tie up the series, is getting multiple kills there. Moving in for the fight, able to pick off Rhaegar as well. And now Team Wish turns around, goes for a Howling Blast, but can't hit anything.
Hazops is having the time of his life. He's killing the fort in the mid lane. He's pressuring the top lane at the same time. Has once again bribed the camp here. He's just doing whatever he wants. That's going to put even more pressure on the keep. Mid fort is down, nearly a 3-level lead, while the team is playing around Lucio in the movement speed boost that allows them to gank lanes, to move out. And, I mean, he is just having a field day here.
And Team Liquid ask themselves right now, why did we stop playing the Vikings? As Hazops continues to push in the middle on the top side. Only one fort standing for Team Wish to the very far south, but it is time for Curse here, as a tribute is available, and either team, if they grab it, they will curse their opponent.
All right, slingshot power already used. Here comes Team Liquid, moving in, going for Chromie, cleanses through. Here comes the timeout. Can they keep her alive, though? That's the question. Splender's also in trouble, but so is Grand Paquette, who got isolated already. That's the death of both of the supports, but Chromie falls as well, turning it into a 4 versus 3 on the map, as we have the double Abathur hunting down Darkmok.
Hunting him down, he's low on health. Shad has a little bit more time. The Death Coil comes out. Zarmany's starting to get lower and lower, though, as he deals with Nurok. Blumby comes in with the power slide. The Icebound Fortitude helping out to keep Zarmany alive. He'll turn around and drop a Howling Blast while Mopsio attempts to jump out.
And in the meantime, the Vikings are still rocking the map. The camp pushing the top lane. The bot lane fort about to be eliminated by Hazops. The curse has hit. That is bad news for the top lane. Mopsio attempting to jump out here, but Hazops is already ready with Balog. Tries to close the distance. Abathur helping Murden survive for now, but the top lane has taken severe damage, and in the meantime, the bottom lane was relieved of the fort. Hazo moving even further forward, and now they have a 3-level lead and a talent advantage, 16 versus 13 in favor of Team Liquid.
And Team Wish needs to frantically defend against this curse that will be continuing to push forward against them here, hoping just to make sure not to lose out on that keep. Now, so far they're doing well on the top side. Olaf will get picked off, and Team Liquid continues to push the map open. They are setting up for potentially a boss.
At this point, Liquid is just absolutely dominating every single aspect of this game. They are playing so well around the Vikings here, as they did in the past. They go for the boss. Mopsio is scouting it out here. But with the curse active, the Vikings and the Haka pushing top lane, you just can't invade this. If you do, you give up your top keep, and it seems like that's what Team Wish is going to do here.
And Team Liquid moves in. Blumby's getting lower and lower. And look at Team Liquid. They just pull away from the fight. They have Eric going straight for the keep on the top left side. That is a win for them. Temporal Loop comes out. Darkmok is going to be pulled on back. The combo comes out. Darkmok falls. Team Wish, they're going to be able to grab the boss.
I mean, congratulations. You just got a boss and you traded it for the keep at the top lane. Not sure if that's really a net worth for them.
But they have a window to at least open up the bottom side, look towards the keep. They still have to keep an eye on these Vikings, though. You are correct. Eric being able to grab those giants soon with Fry being up and Olaf in the middle side, it will be difficult.
I mean, as Team Liquid makes the decision to attack the boss, they basically say, what is the worst case scenario here? We lose the boss. That happened, but they get the keep as an exchange. I take that trade any day. If you still have the fort available, I definitely take that trade. Wish has to do way more at that bot lane with the boss right now, and that's where Team Liquid has to defend. But in the meantime, we're having Vikings in the mid lane being active. They can bribe again, and they could also move in here. So we have one Viking already retreating, so they can use the ult in another 30 seconds if they want to. All the Vikings are, by the way, back. They're trying to go for it, and they are trying to defend the keep here, and they still have the potential mosh pit on ETC.
And you be careful here. Temporal Loop's not up for 5 more seconds, and Ultimate Evolution will need a few more seconds before it is up as well. The hat coming in will help out with Mopsio on the front side. The keep continues to be the focus here for Team Wish, as they will be able to grab it now.
I take it back. I actually am really impressed how much damage they could do with it. I didn't believe that they would be able to move through the entire keep with it. I also have to admit that I expected Hazobs to try and set up a flank here. That was the one thing that surprises me slightly. Usually when we see Vikings play after level 16 with Largen in charge, you have Eric trying to take the side and then in the fight move in. So they could have kept the Vikings up at the top a bit longer and then try to jump on Chromie. That didn't really happen here. So that was the one thing with the setup that they had that surprised me slightly. And I'm not quite sure, like, it's actually a bit of a toss-off. I really feel like if he would have done that, they had an easier chance moving past the boss and trying to at least get kills out of this one. They didn't do it, so we have a keep for a keep, then in the end traded, but they still hold on to that massive lead in experience. But in terms of talents, we're looking at 16 versus 16. We have, by the way, as predicted earlier now, given the Axe Taker, the synergy with Muradin, and also the slow on 16 on Abathar are now in play so that Muradin can help out to confirm kills for Team Wish. So Team Wish now with a lot more damage potential on their side.
And Team Wish dancing around the boss side. You may ask, why didn't they go for the tribute on the bottom? It's a little bit too far away. With the Vikings being in play, Team Liquid has all the cards here to make the play they want to based on what Team Wish goes for. So Team Wish set up on the top side and prevent Team Liquid from grabbing that boss that could push in the top lane. Well, remember, they lost their keep, so that means core could fall down.
Yeah, the big problem is that a lot of people think that Vikings are only an early game advantage where you try to snowball experience, but Vikings actually become way more annoying in the late game, since they really start to dominate the map from a macro perspective, and you will have constantly on lanes where the keep has fallen, catapults pushing in because the Vikings push the lane out, and you risk the life of your remaining keep. So that's something that Liquid knows how to exploit, and that's something they're going to be looking for throughout this entire game now.
Team Wish trying to force a fight here on the top right side. Needs to be slightly careful. With a tribute spawning near them, they actually have a chance here to move in and grab it. They ideally want level 18 before they try to force this. That's because you unlock Enduro Anomaly on that Chromie, which gives you more control around the box.
Mid lane pressure. 2 camps are pressuring the mid lane right now. They just bribed and took the camp. So it's 2 Knight camps that are pressuring the keep at this point. The longer this tribute is going to be delayed, the better. Even if they can't delay it, that curse would in the mid lane not get a lot of value. Question is, can they get a kill out of it even? This is still a heavy push here, but it should at least save them the keep.
And Abathar might be in trouble. Shad has to be careful. Hostile pops it here. Poike's going to come over and try and clear out the lane a little bit, dropping a Dragon's Eye, but it's a bit too spread out. Can't really help out too much as the Vikings continue to keep pushing forward and peel to the top left. At the same time, Team Wish, they are stressed on the map. Muradin and Abathar dancing around the boss as Team Liquid could grab it at any point.
I mean, think about what's happening here. This is actually a curse against them. A curse against Team Liquid. And Team Liquid is the one who puts the damage onto the keep in the mid lane, thanks to that double camp that they took. And at the same time, we have them grabbing, or about to grab, level 20 because they utilize that they get global with the Haka as well on the bot lane. So this curse basically does nothing for Team Wish right now. There's the 20, and Wish is attempting to force at least a fight up at the top around the boss.
Piercing Sands have been picked up for Chromie. She's looking for the extra damage, helps out with the fight on the side. 20 hitting for Team Liquid. Neuro comes in, the Vikings are flanking, and Chromie, she is down.
Largen in charge, and the value. Grand Paquette is also dead. Chromie and Rhaegar both dying. Here comes the mosh pit against Muradin. They're at least trying to get him here. Muradin is down. Everybody is completely getting obliterated by Team Liquid here. Arthas is dead. The keeps are being pushed down, and now we're having Team Liquid moving through the top lane to victory in game number 4.
And the playoffs continue to be very exciting as we do set up for our game number 5. Team Liquid charges on top left corner, moving forward on Cursed Hollow with the aid of Hasselhoff and his Vikings. They control the map, they control the team fights, they stop Chromie, and Team Liquid with the boot camp continues to get wins here.
Delivering the final blow here, Hazobs with a great last fight, an absolutely amazing move against Chromie, flanking from the side this time, getting the kill in against Rhaegar as well, and in the meantime we've seen the mid and also the bot lane still pushing. The curse was nice for Team Wish, but it didn't do anything, actually. They couldn't capitalize on it at all.
Yeah, the Mercamp's pushing in the middle. They had to pull Chromie back, and it's a bit too difficult. Glarong, what a great way to start your Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have asked for anything better. Wish and Liquid going to Game 5 is super exciting for me. But yeah, like you mentioned, like that last curse was really difficult for Team Wish to get value. Because of the way Team Liquid set up the map with the Vikings and how they were winning the race until level 20, Wish had to be a bit more decisive with their curse. And they might not have had the highest chance to win. Like the probability of winning with this sequence of calls that I'm about to go over is probably relatively low, but I think it's their best chance. Like when the curse hits, I think they just need to accept that the double Knight camp is going to take their mid keep They're not going to lose the game off that pressure. They need to play to win. And winning from the position they're in against Vikings down level 20 is really difficult, especially with the bosses being up. Because when Team Liquid's 20, they'll take the boss and win. So what they needed to do, I think, was take the curse and then instantly force the top right boss. And if Team Liquid misplays at all, they could die and just lose. But the way it ended up playing, Team Liquid played it so well, denied so much soak off that curse, and just ended up forcing a level 20 versus 18 fight.
Let's take a look at that fight, actually, as we get ready for it. So let's go ahead and jump into the replay, as it looks like we are ready to go. Glarong, run us through it.
Okay, so just like I mentioned, Team Liquid played the map slow enough, but it forced Wish into a position where this is the only possible chance they have to come back. And then Haswab's on the flank was just phenomenal here, kept control of the Chromie, and Darkmok was able to get the angled follow-up on the backline. But this team fight, the reason it went so bad for Wish, honestly, was due to the level 20 talent differential and the fact that Team Liquid played so patient and forced the fight on their boss.
I mean, you don't want to fight that fight in the first place. That's your biggest problem. But right now, in that late game situation, as you said, you have very little chance. And no matter what you do, not only do you play against Vikings, you have the Haka too.
Yeah.
So the lanes are all going to be pushed out against you. You get the curse. That relieves some pressure from the lanes, but what do you do with it? Either you make the snap call on the boss. I guess can you YOLO on a keep or even a core and say this is the only chance we have to move maybe through the bot lane? Because in the long run, Liquid is just running away with map control against you.
It's such a hard position to be in. When Team Liquid has the snowball advantage to level 20 and they have the Vikings and the Dahaka, they can kind of play slow, position well, and the game's theirs. But from the perspective of Wish, they have a few options, and they have to choose one and be decisive. So that's the thing. Like, I think for them, the decision-making was half, oh, guys, our mid keep's going to die. We got to respond to that. Okay, well, their boss is up and Team Liquid's posturing around that. We got to respond to that. And instead of being reactive, just kind of accept that you're going to lose certain things and be decisive and force the objective you need to.
Now, considering that the top fort, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but the top fort was still in play, I feel, do you think that boss would even have given them anything?
From like Wish's perspective,
like enough
that changes the scenario, because suddenly the boss is no longer a condition for you to win, it's a condition for you not to lose, because you're missing top keep. It's a win condition for the enemy team, so there is merit to getting rid of it, but you'd be playing for the long, slow game in that case. Honestly, they were in a really tough position. I'd have to watch it again to know for sure what they're able to do, but they were in a tough spot.
Well,
gives us a game 5.
That's right. We got a game 5. Regardless here, we are going to match point. We'll be